We were discussing about the web application or web app design. We have covered various aspects. Now let us see the session management. When designing a web application, an efficient and secure session management strategy is very important for either performance or the reliability. So we must consider session management factors such as what we need to store, where to store it, and how long information need to be kept. And we need to consider certain guidelines when you are actually designing a session management strategy. First, consider if you actually do need to store the session state. First of all, using session state adds overhead always extra work to each page request and ensure that you persist session data when required. But consider using read-only sessions or disabling the session state altogether to improve the performance when this is appropriate. If you have, say, a single web server, you require optimum session state performance and have a relatively limited number of concurrent sessions. So use the in-process state store in this case. However, if your session data is expensive to recreate and you require durability in the event of, say, some sort of ASP.NET restart, use the session state service running on the local web server. And for multiple server, that is the web form scenarios where you must centralize session data storage across servers, consider using the SQL Server State Store. And if you are storing state on a separate server, protect your session state communicating channel using techniques such as SSL or IPsec. And prefer basic types of session data to reduce the serialization cost. Then comes the validation. So designing an effective validation solution is very important for the security and reliability of your application. If you have improper or weak validation, that can really leave you or your application vulnerable to XSS, that is cross-site scripting attacks, the SQL injection attacks, the buffer overflows, and various other types of input attacks. And consider these guidelines while designing a validation strategy. Validate all data crossing the trust boundaries of your application. Assume that all client control data is malicious and must be validated. Design your validation strategy to constrain, reject, and sanitize malicious input. And validate all input data based on their length, range, format, and type. Use the client-side validation for optimum user experience and reduce the all network round trips to the server, but always validate on the server for security reasons. Investigate the third-party solution, design patterns, and libraries that can help you to centrally manage and reuse the validation rules and the code. So what are the design considerations for layers, different layers? So if you have chosen to use layer design for your application, consider the specific issues for each layer which I described just now. First, the presentation layer. The presentation layer of your web application displays the user interface and facilitates the user interaction. The design should focus on separation of concerns where the user interaction logic is decoupled from the user interface components. They should not be coupled. You should consider using separate user interface components and presentation logic components in complex interfaces and base your user interface components on standard web controls wherever possible. So you can compile the controls into an assembly for reuse across application, or if you need to add additional features to existing server controls. And for a web application, the presentation layer consists of a server-side component which renders the HTML and a client-side component, the browser or a user agent that executes the script and it displays you the HTML. And usually all presentation logic exists in the server components, and the client components only display the HTML only. So with the client-side techniques such as AJAX, that is asynchronous JavaScript and XML, it is possible to execute logic on the client, usually to improve the user experience. And doing so, it may require some extra development effort and testing. So if you decide to do any validation on the client, ensure that you repeat the validation on the server also, as many client-side validation can easily be circumvented. Then comes the second layer, that is the business layer. When designing the business layer for your web application, consider how to implement the business logic or the functionality and long running workflows. So using a separate business layer that implements the business logic and workflows can improve the maintainability and testability of your application, of course, and allow you to centralize and reuse the common business logic functions. Then consider designing the business entities that represent the real world data and use these to pass data between the components. So design your business layers to be stateless, which helps to reduce the resource contention and the increment in the performance. And consider using a message-based interface. So this would work well with a stateless web application business layer. So if you perform business critical operations in your business layer, design to use transaction to maintain integrity and prevent the data loss. Then comes the data layer, the third layer. Presentation we have talked about, now the business layer and now the data layer. The data layer, consider designing a data layer for a web application that abstracts the logic necessary to access the database, and using a separate data layer makes the application easier to configure and maintain, and hides the detail of the database from other layers of the application, which becomes very important. So design entity objects that the data layer can populate or user to update the data source, and use these DTOs, that is data transfer objects, when interacting with other layers and to pass the data among the layers. So design the data layer to take advantage of connection pooling to minimize the number of open connections, and consider using batch operations to reduce round trips to the database. So data layer may also need to use some external services using the service agents. Also ensure that you design an exception handling strategy to handle data access errors and to propagate exceptions to the business layer. Then comes the service layer. Just consider designing a separate service layer if you plan to deploy your business layer on a remote tier. So if you plan to expose your business logic using a web service, design the services to achieve maximum reusability by not assuming the specific details of the clients that will use them, and avoid changes over time that might break the service interface for existing clients. Instead, implement versions of the interface to allow clients to connect to the appropriate version. If your business layer resides on a remote tier, design a coarse-grained service method in order to minimize the number of round trips and to provide loose coupling. And also design the services to be idempotent. That means so that they can manage the situation when the same request message arrives more than once. And commutative, so that they can manage the situation where messages that perform a specific set of task steps arrive in a wrong order. And make sure that you do not implement business rules in a service interface, which can make it more difficult to keep the interface stable and may generate unnecessary dependencies across components and the clients. And finally, consider interoperability requirements by choosing appropriate protocols and transport mechanisms. For example, use ASMX for broad reach and WCF for more fine control over configuration, and decide whether the interface will expose SOAP or REST or both the methods. And for testing and testability consideration, this becomes very important, because testability is a measure of how well your system or component allow you to create test criteria and execute tests to determine if the criteria are met. So you should consider testability when designing your architecture, because it makes it easier to diagnose problems earlier and reduce the maintenance cost also. So what you can do here is clearly define the inputs and outputs of the application layer and components during the design phase, and consider the separated presentation patterns, such as use MVC or MVP in the presentation layer. And this allows the presentation logic to be unit tested. Design a separate business layer to implement the business logic and workflows, which improve the testability of your application. And design loosely coupled components that can be tested individually. Define an effective logging and tracing strategy, which allow you to detect or troubleshoot errors that might otherwise be very difficult to find. Provide logging and tracing information that can be consumed by monitoring and management tools. So this will help you to locate and focus on the faulty code where the error has actually occurred. And log files should contain information that can be used to replicate the issue. Then the technology considerations we are actually specifically talking about ASP.NET everywhere. So let us continue with this. On the Microsoft platform, from an ASP.NET standpoint, you can combine this ASP.NET Web Forms model with the range of other technologies, including the ASP.NET Ajax, ASP.NET MVC, Silverlight, and ASP.NET Dynamic Data. So what you need to consider is, if you want to build an application that are accessed through a web browser, or say some specialized user agent, consider using ASP.NET. And if you want to build application that provide increased interactivity and background processing with fewer page reloads, again using ASP.NET with Ajax. So if you want to build application that include rich media content and interactivity, consider using ASP.NET with the Silverlight controls. So if you are using ASP.NET, consider using master pages to implement a consistent user interface across all pages. And if you are building a data-driven web application with pages based on the data model of the underlying database, consider using the ASP.NET Dynamic Data. So if you're using a test-driven development approach or need fine-grained control over your user interface, Consider using MVC pattern and ASP.NET MVC to cleanly separate application and navigation logic from your application user interface. Then comes the deployment consideration. So when deploying a web application, you should take into account how layer and component location will affect the performance, the scalability, and security of the application. You might also need to consider the design trade-offs. So you use either a distributed or a non-distributed deployment approach depending on the business requirement and infrastructure constraints. And non-distributed deployments will generally maximize performance by reducing the number of calls that must cross the physical boundaries. So, however, the distributed deployment will allow you to achieve better scalability and allows each layer to be secured separately. Then comes the non-distributed deployment. If a non-distributed deployment scenario, in this scenario, all the logically separate layers of web application are physically located on the same web server except for the database. So you must consider how the application will handle this multiple concurrent users and how to secure the layers that reside on the same server. So let us see the scenario. This shows the scenario. If you have a web server here, database servers is here, you need to have the presentation, business, and data, and that along contributed or connected with the database. And non-distributed deployment on a web application, you need to follow certain guidelines. If you are choosing non-distributed deployment, use this non-distributed deployment if your web application is performance sensitive, because the local calls to other layers reduce the impact on performance that would be caused by remote calls across tiers. So if you do not need to share business logic with that application and only the presentation logic will access, then design a component-based interface for your business layer. If your business logic and presentation logic run in the same process, avoid authentication at the business layer. Don't do it there. Use a trusted identity, say by trusted subsystem model, to access the database. And this improves the performance and scalability of your application. And then decide how you're going to protect sensitive data passed between the web server and the database server. And when it comes to distributed deployment, in this scenario, the presentation and business layers of web application reside on separate physical tiers and they communicate remotely. So you'll typically locate your business and data access layers on the same server. Like this, web server, this is the presentation layer, application server, you have business and data, and database server. And distributed deployment of a web application, just consider these guidelines. Do not deploy your business layer on a separate tier unless it is necessary. For example, to maximize scalability or when security concern prohibit you for developing your business logic on your front-end web server. Consider using a message-based interface for your business layer and consider using TCP protocol with binary encoding to communicate with the business layer for best performance. And consider protecting sensitive data passed between the different physical tiers. Then comes the load balancing. This is very important. When you deploy a web application on multiple servers, you can use load balancing to distribute requests so that they are handled by different web servers. And to help to maximize the response time, resource utilization, throughput, how you can do this is a web farm. You have a web application server. This is one, this is two. Say you have different web servers, so the database server can be connected. And this is how you can very well consider these aspects of response time, resource utilization, and throughput. So for load balancing a web application, avoid server affinity when designing web application if possible, because this can negatively affect the application's ability to scale out. Server affinity occurs when all requests from a particular client must be handled by the same server. So it usually occurs when you use locally updatable caches or in-process local session state stores. So if you must support server affinity, consider the cluster to route all requests from the same user to the same server. Consider designing stateless component for your web application. For instance, a web front end that has no in-process state and no stateful business component. So if you must store state of users, avoid the use of in-process session management in web form unless you can configure affinity and guarantee that requests from the same user will be routed to the same server. And instead use of an out-of-process state service or a database server. Consider using this NLB, Windows Network Load Balancing, as a software solution to implement redirection of requests to the servers in an application form. And consider using clustering to minimize the impact of hardware failures. And consider partitioning your database across multiple database servers if your application has high input-output requirements. So we have certain design patterns which are relevant. So key patterns which are organized into categories such as caching, exception management, logging, instrumentation, page layout, presentation, request processing, service interface layers. You see, consider these patterns, using these patterns when making a design decision for each category. For example, if you are dealing with caching, the relevant pattern could be cache dependency, page cache. What is this cache dependency? Use the external information to determine the state of data stored in a cache. Page cache means improve the response time for dynamic web pages that are accessed frequently but changes less often and consume a large amount of system resources to construct. In exception management, exception shielding, filter exception data that should not be exposed to the external system or users. In logging and instrumentation, the provider implement a component that exposes an API that is different from the client API and to allow any custom implementation to be seamlessly plugged in. In the page layout or user interface, you can have composite view, template view, transform view, two-step view. The composite view in the page layout, we combine individual views into a composite representation. In a template view, we implement a common template view and derive or construct views using this template view. In the transform view, we transform the data passed to the presentation tier into HTML to be displayed on the user interface. And two-step view, we transform the model data into logical representation without any specific formatting and then convert that logical representation into the actual formatting which is required. And when comes the presentation, MVC, we separate the data in the domain, the presentation, and the action based on user interface or input into three separate classes. The model manages the behavior and data of the application domain. Respond to the request for information about its state, usually from the view, and respond the instruction to change state, that is usually from the controller. So view manages the display of information. The controller interprets the mouse and keyboard inputs from the user, informing the model or the view to change as appropriate. In the presentation model view presenter MVP, we separate request processing into three roles, with the view being responsible for handling user input, and the model responsible for application data and business layer, and presenter responsible for presentation logic and for coordinating the interaction between the view and the model. The passive view, a variant of MVC pattern, here we reduce the view of the absolute minimum by allowing the controller to process user input and maintain the responsibility for updating the view. And supervising presenter, which is the supervising controller here, a variant of MVC pattern in which the controller handles the complex logic, in particular coordinating between views, but where the view is responsible for simple view specific logic. Then the request processing, intercepting filter, page controller, front controller. So intercepting logic means we create a chain of composable filters, which are independent modules, to implement common pre-processing and post-processing tasks during the web page request. And in the page controller, we accept input from the request and handle it for a specific page or action on a website. In terms of front controller, we consolidate request handling by channeling or request through a single handler object, which can be modified at runtimes with decorators. Service interface layer, we have facade and the service interface. So facade or facade, you can say, implement a unified interface to a set of operations to provide a simplified reduced coupling between system, and the service interface, programmatic interface that other systems can use to interact with the service. So this was about the web design. So we have tried to touch upon various aspects of the web design that you should consider. Thank you so much.